Good morning or afternoon, Thomas. Boy, that was a hell of an open. I wanted to end it. Then I just put you on there. Then I just put me on there. It kind of, in a way, maybe sums up the day one at Royal Ascot. Some confusion, some fun, some good things. What are some of the things you noticed watching the races today?
Well, it started out with a horse I would have never picked.
I did, though. I picked it.
Triple. I know you did. I didn't. That was at Modern Games did run the way I thought he would, not at all. And Inspiral ran a really good race, but frankly had some gate issues, and that really cost her the race. But a game effort from Triple Time on that first race, and we did see the far side in a number of races being where you want to be.
So let's quickly recap some of that where you mentioned we left off there. I went back and looked at all the races today just to give you a sense of what did what. Three of the races were won by the 7 horse. So 3 out of 7, that's a pretty good number. But what's interesting about that, Tom, is one was won by the 6 post position. I mean, when I say post position, I'm not the 7.
Yeah, not the betting number. No.
Not the betting number, but the post position. So 3 of the post positions that won were number 7. Another one that won was number 6, and another one that won was number 8. So 5 of the 7 winners coming from 6, 7, and 8. That looked like the strike zone. And then the other 2 winners were 11 and 12. So it looks like middle and out was the place to be in day 1. I don't know necessarily if that translates to day 2, but the trend is your friend until it's no longer a
drying out. So it's going to be go from good to firm, I would assume. And the round track was rated as good to firm today. So, but the main straight was rated as good.
So maybe keep an eye on that tomorrow.
They got a little rain early in the morning.
So if you see the 6, 7, or 8, or the 10, 11, or 12, something like that win early on, I'm just going to go under the idea that trend might continue until it doesn't continue. So you mentioned early on, indeed, the horse you wouldn't pick kind of set up the whole week for me. I mean, I don't really need to win anymore because I had the exacta in my picks. $1, it paid $313. And if you had put in your light infantry, which is your second pick in there, Thomas, and that trifecta paid $2,400.
Yeah, I liked light infantry off that last race, and it ran a great race last year against Inspiral too. So those were factors that I threw in there because I did not like Modern Games on this course, as I said before. But Triple Time, tough one. The 2-year-old race, the Coventry with River Tiber. Well, he looks like something right now special.
He does.
Yeah, I mean he really just won with ease. I didn't really. Nobody really was close. And definitely the best horse in that race without question. In the King's Stand, it was a bit of a surprise to see Brad Soul, but he won last year. He won the Coventry last year. So obviously, horse for a course. And on the At the Racing website, Holly Doyle does a blog column or whatever, and she was really very excited about this ride, thinking this horse would have a good run. She was right.
Yeah,
Highfield Princess, to all her credit, 6-year-old mare. I mean, she looked good too. I mean, there's no question that she's going to win a few Group 1s this year.
Yeah, we whiffed on that one. In the race 4, we both had Paddington, the one horse in there, but that was a chalky pick. Exactly.
The two favorites, basically. 2 top picks were 1, 2.
And then the next race, you had the America horse on there. Horse with no name. Good for Tom to get a win today. Yeah, paid $18.90 to win.
Yeah, so I'm not complaining about that. And then we also got to find out she was pregnant. And the trainer talked about in the post interview how that she's changed since being pregnant. That she was pretty lazy before. She was much more alert now, and that 90-day, where they can still basically race them. that 90 days was interesting. So now, it's interesting also that the foal is also the foal that's not born yet has also won at Royal Ascot.
Yes, it has indeed. So, that's going to be one to keep an eye out in about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And then we whiffed in race number 6 there. And then that
Yeah.
Vabulent, you want to talk about a horse that looked like it was light years ahead of everybody else. And that
it wasn't even close.
No.
I mean, I had the horse that ran second as my top choice. Of course, was trained. The top 2 runners were trained by the same as the trainer.
Mhm.
So I mean, Ryan Moore knew what he had under him, and
It seemed like he was
got
involved in a lot of
got
races.
3 wins today, and
Mhm.
really good.
Yeah, you almost have to keep him on there along. If Ryan Moore's riding a 7 horse or 6 horse or an 8 horse, it's just got to lock that one in as your winner, Tom. All right, well, you're ready to go ahead and get started for tomorrow, day number 2.
Yeah, let's see what we can do. Hopefully, we can pick a few more winners.
Well, I mean, overall, I think not having an understanding how the track would play and all kinds of horses making first starts, and I'll take it when you started off with a $300 exacta, and pretty much the rest of the day is in the bag. So race number 1 tomorrow is at 2:30 their time, which I think is 8:30 our time, which is 9:30 on the East Coast. Now we got that squared away.
No, you got it wrong. It's 8:30 Eastern.
Well, they started 8:30 our time this morning.
Yeah, 7:30 here.
Oh, are they starting an hour earlier tomorrow?
No, it's 2:30. It's 2:00 is the Royal Procession, and 2:30 is the first race.
Well, the first race today was 8:30 our time.
Yeah.
So
okay.
If they're going to run at the same time, then it would be 9:30. But I don't know. Forget the time. The
Yeah,
time
no,
doesn't
no.
matter.
Yeah.
The only time that matters is the
say
final
it's
time.
it's not at 3 in the morning. Okay.
No. All right, so let's look at race number 1, which is the Queen Mary Stakes. They're going to go 5 furlongs. They're going to do that again on that straight course right there, Thomas. You'll see again 5, 6, 7, and 8 did the best with 11 and 12, also getting a score in there today. So I'm not quite sure what that means for tomorrow, but I do know it looked to me like speed didn't really falter that badly today at the track either. So I wouldn't be surprised if horses that are near the front do all right, Thomas. To kick it off tomorrow, who do you got as a $70 horse to pick off day number 2?
Well, a little comment on this race. This was, I think, the hardest race I've looked at in a long time.
What is there? 30 races, 27 horses, right?
Yeah, and 2-year-olds with basically one race for a lot of them. I did go with number 22, on Agrila. I think that's how it's pronounced.
50 to 1. Why not?
Draw number 4. First starter was at Red Car. She had a lot of work to do, but it was a very impressive race. The standard, she was a little slow on the standard side, but that, we saw today that one of the fastest horse did absolutely nothing in one race. I had to go look at the breeding because I didn't have much else, and the mare maximum distance was 7 furlongs, so she's right in the wheelhouse on there. And the sire side, he went to mile, but he won the Breeders' Cup Mile, Turf Mile. So probably in that mile range, and based on that first run, I think she's got a nice chance in this race.
Mm-hmm.
And number 14, Got to Love a Gray is my next choice. It's going to draw 15. Winner of the first 2 races. First race was by 6 lengths at Nottingham, and then won by a half a length in a listed race at York. Pretty good times. On this one, it's interesting because the dam side has 6 foals. They've been winners. They run on a bunch of different surfaces, all weather and turf, at varying distance. So there's nothing you can really dive for that. And then one of the her foals has produced a black type winner. So they keep generationally it's carrying along.
Mm-hmm.
And the sire side is interesting because it's a very good 2-year-old sprinter, and he was retired sound as a 2-year-old, so they didn't race him beyond 2. And he's been producing some nice, mainly sprinters. And finally, I'm going to take what may be a favorite. Who knows at this point? Probably 4 to 1 favorite. Wouldn't be surprised. Beautiful Diamond, number 3, with draw 17, which is not really good, but 1 for 1, one at Nottingham, going 5 furlongs. It was on a good to firm running. She finished extremely strongly, which was one of the things people jumped out at. Dam side, well, there's only one other fold, did not race yet. And the related to the dam, they've been basically sprinters. And on the sire side, it's definitely a sprinter. So she's that 5. This speed and this type of race should suit her just perfectly.
So I went with you where you started off. Gotta love a gray. 10 to 1 is my top choice in there. As you mentioned, the horse is unbeaten in the pair there, Tom. Bet well in both of those races. And as I mentioned before, speed did kind of hold up today. And I think this one will be close to the pace in the shorter race. Number 5, Born to Rock. 17 to 2, right where it opened up. Got William Buick on the mount there. Debuted and won a $36,000 stakes race with ease, and that was on a good track. One of the better efforts for the horses that have only made 1 or 2 starts, or some none, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. No, they've all started.
Oh, did they? There was another race though. There were some. Was that the last race where there were some that hadn't started yet?
No, right. Last race is one of the handicaps.
Well, maybe the second last race. I'm not sure. But anyway, one of them, there's a lot of first-time starters in there. Relief Rally, the 25 horse in here. Unbeaten in 2. I think this one has a good shot to rate right off of the lead, and it's proven that it can win on both the soft and a good track. I think we'll get a good track tomorrow, so footing shouldn't be an issue for Relief Rally. And then the heck with it. I went with number 23. Out of the Stars. Look at that post position, Thomas. Number 7. The way 7 won. I'm not sure if it means anything, but it did win 3 of 7. As I mentioned, 5 of the 7 scoring from post 6 through 8. And then this one is also seems to be on the right part of the track. Hasn't lost. We're going to go with that one as the 4th pick. Let's see if indeed the predictor has any, with all these horses, 2-year-olds. It'll be really interesting to see how this one plays out.
Confusing.
Yeah, it's just going to put 27 horses on the wire and say, you pick one. Yeah. There we go. It's going to be on the bottom. Bang! Beautiful Diamond, the one Thomas likes. Born to Rock right there, too. And then Relief Rally up in there as well at 13 to 2. But it looks like Beautiful Diamond, 7 to 2, according to the predictor. One of Thomas's picks going to get that one there.
Yeah, there's a lot of value in this race, so you can figure it out.
Well, 27 2-year-olds, I think you might as well. You could use a random number generator and probably do as well. Number 2 on the second day, race number 2, not race number 1, is the Kensington Palace Handicap. Tom, they're going to run 1 mile. They're going to go straight from 1 mile. We saw that again today. Again,
no, this is the round one.
This is starting up here?
Yeah, this is a round course.
All right, cool. So round course instead. So not a straight one. They're going to get that turn in there. So let's see how that plays in terms of today. I noticed the horse races that did go around a turn today did heavily favor the closers. The speed did not manage to do as well when they turned.
And only one came up the rail and the rest of them went wide.
Yeah, that one horse that came up on the rail, the one that you liked. The horse with no name came through the rail, popped, and aggressively made that move up the late. But it did have a strong late kick. All right, Tom. So who do you like in the second race here?
I'm going to start with number 6. You want to be there. Draw 10. Appears to have needed that first start. Dwelt at the start. Had 0 racing luck in that race. I mean, if you could find trouble, it did. She's run 3 times. She has 2 wins, and then an average effort in a listed race. Her wins are in Ireland, and on the turf at 7 furlongs in her first start, and 8 furlongs on the all-weather. This is one of those races where I think this one's going to be placed a little forwardly if it doesn't screw up the start, and should be there right at the end. Next one I'm going to take is number 12. Tamarama with draw 19. Last out one at Kempton. It was on the all-weather going a mile, and she looked good doing that based on the fact that her previous 2 races were pretty average. She's going to take a class rise here, but she's a winner on both types of surfaces, And distance should not be any kind of an issue. She seems to like that. I think she's in the money runner in here, more so than a winner. And again, a lot of value in this race. I think you get 6-1, maybe.
Yeah, 7-1 right now, so I don't see why not.
And my final choice is going to be number 14, Farah to Shy, which is draw 22, which is going to be interesting. One last at Ascot, going a mile by a neck in a Class 2 handicap. She's been basically running on the all-weather prior to that, and with average results. When she was returned to the turf at Nottingham, she could finish third, and then won after that. So I'm going after that last race, and it was a run on the course. I think she's got a chance to hit the board. That post does suck, though.
I'm all over the place with my picks today, Tom. I'm curious to see how these things play out. I'm going to go with the 11, Belhaven, as my first pick. The horse absolutely adores a mile, 5 times out, 3 wins and a second. And that second, Tom, was by a neck, and was at this course at the Ascot. And the only time the horse missed at a mile, it did have some excuses. The one you started off with is going to get my second call in here. Your Wanna Be There, Your Want There, whatever the name of that horse is. Ran out of room, as you mentioned last time. That was at 7 furlongs. This time it has a little bit more room, so it should be able to get it done with that extra furlong in there. And the lone trip at a mile was a W, was on all weather, as you mentioned, Tom, but debuted on the grass and won there. So we know it can run at on the surface. I think going longer is actually going to benefit this horse. The 9 horse, Tarab, is my third choice. William Buick, hopefully going to have a good day tomorrow, because looks like I have him early on a lot. 2 races at a mile with a win and a close third. And if you look at the bettors, they back this one pretty aggressively so far in its races. And then finally, number 18 is my final choice in here. Discretion, 20-1. This one is running in that post position strike zone of 6 through 8. Robust turf breeding, one of my favorite types of horses in here, in that it is an all or nothing. On the grass 6 times, won 3 of them. At the distance 4 times, won 2 of them, out of the money and the rest. This is going to be the 3rd start after a layoff. The only other time the horse had a 3rd start off a layoff, it won. So there you go. That's why I like the 18 horse. A lot of good odds in this one, Tom. If we can collect the winner exacta in this race, it should be another one of those triple-digit payouts.
Well, and one of the other bets we should have talked about for people who don't know about it is the Omni Swinger. And that being, you can pick the 1st and 3rd horse, or the 1st and, so you get all your different horses that finish in the money. There's different combinations for those of the first 3 finishers.
Mm-hmm.
And their payoffs were pretty good today overall, especially when he had a 33-1 win the first race.
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, let's look at what the predictor says who will win the second race. The predictor is going to let us know that as they come down the stretch, boom, it's the horse on the bottom there. Let me take this off because it's messing us up. Your Want There. That's the, your want here. Your Want Here, I guess.
Your Want Here.
Yeah, something along those lines. And then Sly Madam, a name neither one of us mentioned, or El Delays, that one's not in there. Tarab, that's the one I picked in there. It's right in there as well. Belhaven, of course, in there too. And Roman Mist. Let's see if the predictor has any predictability in its efforts to pick a winner tomorrow. I should have wrote down who it picked today and see how it did, Tom. Do you remember picking any winners?
No, I think it had River Tiber.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall. And you can't go back and look at it after the fact, I don't think. So race number 3 is where we're going to go. The Duke of Cambridge Stakes. Back to 1 mile. This one is the straight one. You can see the STR there. Yeah. Yes, I figured that out finally after 2-3 years. There we go. Straight down that straightaway again. Again, those middle horses and out did pretty good today on that first day at the Royal Ascot. Let's see if that holds up tomorrow. Tom, who do you like in the Duke of Cambridge Stakes? Who is the Duke of Cambridge right now? You have any idea?
I do not know.
Nor do I. Anyway, nor do I care, but go ahead.
Yeah. Number 7, Prosperous Voyage. I mean, my top choice with draw 5. A great run last time at Epsom. winning by 3/4 of a length in a Group 3. And frankly, in the stretch straight, she looked like the winner all the way through the race. Her first start wasn't much of anything, but it doesn't matter because she won the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Last season, she beat Inspiral in a mile race at Newmarket. That's a pretty good horse. She
Yes,
ran
we
pretty
saw
well
it
today.
Yeah.
And, my concern is that her one run at Ascot was not great. But we'll see. That was, again, last year at Royal Ascot.
Might have just been an off day.
Possibly. She likes the going. Based off that win she just had at Epsom, I would say she's the one to beat. Number 1, Grand Dame is going to be my next choice. That's got draw number 6. Started the season, okay. But after a good season last year. Won a maiden at Ascot, which I like to see. And then she won a listed race and placed in some Group 2 races, two group races. It's one of those, I'm not sure the distance is her right distance, but I'm going to take a chance because I think there's a lot to be said because this is her first start and they must be aiming her for this race for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I'm going to take number 2, Honey Girl, which has draw 4, is my final choice. She's been doing all her running in Ireland, and she's been winning at 7 furlongs, and those have been at the Curragh and mainly on soft going. Went off the favorite in her last race, and she won 2 races prior to that. She's back, they brought her over here. I think a mile's within her wheelhouse, and but I don't know if she's going to win. So I'm going to drop her in for a placing.
So Charles B. pointing out today that the track played early speed. I kind of noticed that today. Found my winners in comments with the keyword lead-headed on good track. So maybe throw that into the Alt F when you're looking through the comments tomorrow too and see if that identifies a couple winners. Omar, I'm guessing that you mean this for this particular race, likes the 9 plus the 5 plus the 15 plus the 1 plus the 12. Add all that up and you end up with, what is that, 25, 26, 31, 40 points. Exactly. It's got to be some numerology there for sure. I like in the Duke of Cambridge Stakes. I'm going to start off with the 9 horse is my top pick. Random Harvest, 25-1. I'm going to take a shot here. The horse ran in this race last year, was second by a neck, Thomas. Won another race that it had at Ascot, and then it had a third in yet another run at Ascot. So it looks like potential horse for the course here with Random Harvest. The 4-horse Jumbly is going to be your favorite, it looks like, at about 2-1 odds. Strong performer in group races so far. Room the upper game in round 2 off of the sidelines. The one that you started with, the 7-horse, is the one that's going to make my third selection today. Third after a layoff. Horse that is usually forward placed there, Charles, for you. Reared up and broke near the back in her last race, so reared at the beginning, and still managed to come out and find the W. So shows that the horse doesn't necessarily need to be lead dependent, some versatility in its game. And then finally, the Rogue Millennium, the 10-horse. Guess what post position that one is, Tom?
28.
Number 7, baby. I'm going to stick with that 7 until it proves me wrong tomorrow. This one has 3 high-quality starts in 2023. This is the quintessential Tom horse. Is it going to win? Probably not. Is it going to finish in the money? I think there's a strong case to be made for it finishing in the money, and does have that coveted post position number 7. Let's take a look at the predictor. Let me pop this off the screen so we can see the bottom of the predictor, Tom. Otherwise, it doesn't do us as much good if we can't see what we're looking at. The predictor says it's going to be a tight race. Bam! Photo finish with Prosperous Voyage scoring the W. Jumbly going to be right there. Honey Girl. Looks like Tom may have taken a look at the predictor before he made his picks. Random Harvest, Queen, and Amatu, and Lightship also potentially factoring. Heck, that Lightship at 66-1 might be one that you want to throw in the back of your Omni or Swinger bets, just in the event it does finish second or third in there, Tom.
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean, you get a 66.
It is Royal Ascot. There are always strange things that happen in terms of pricing. We saw that right off the bat today.
Well, I mean, and a lot of it afterwards, with the exception of maybe the horse with no name, a lot of the horses thereafter ran to form. So it wasn't, you got to pick your spot where that shot's going to come in. Maybe the Prince of Wales stakes where the possessive gets a double S again. I'm not quite sure why they do that over there. I'll have to look that up and see why that is.
I have no clue.
Yeah, nor do I. So in race number 4, they're going to run 1 mile and 2 furlongs. So 1 mile and 2 furlongs. They're going to start here, going to run down that hill, make that turn. The first time, turn right, come back down that hill there. And I mean, up the hill, make that turn there, continue uphill to the finish line, Tom. Again, I noticed on the turn races today, a little bit different, Charles, than the straightaways, and that the horses did tend to come off the pace and usually made up a lot of ground in the final stretch there. Horses that were way back, moving their way forward. Tom, who's going to be way back and move their way forward for this one?
Well, this is the smallest field I think we're going to see all week.
6 horses. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely going to be a jockey's race, and there's some really top class horses in here. With that, I took number 5, Most Stuffed Deef, which has draw 6. It's been off since March. Last run was in Dubai against, well, considered one of the best horses in the world, which is the Japanese horse Equinox, who set the track record in that race. Lost by 7. Nobody was a match for that horse in that race, but he ran a credible 4th. He's won Group 3s on good to firm going in Saudi Arabia, but prior to that start, last season after a layoff, he won on the all-weather, and then they sent him to Paris for the Arc, and he finished dead last. So he's been running decent company. This is certainly a decent company race. Let's see if maybe this time he can hit the top position. Number 6, My Prospero, is going to be my next choice with draw 2. Ran against Modern Games last out at Newbury, and group 1 there was an 8-mile race, and he's won before in a mile, but that race he didn't win.
You're not worried about Modern Games' performance today?
No. Whole different track, whole different setup. And also, this is a horse that wants more distance. And that race was, I think it was more of a tune-up than it was anything else. He's never won a Group 1, but he's always performed well in all his races. I mean, his last effort was probably his most mediocre, which wasn't that mediocre. So, he's got big horses, big names. And I think he's going to compete very well with this bunch. And finally, I'm going to take number 1, Adaria. Adaria is my final choice as draw 3. Last win was at Newmarket on the soft going in a Group 3. And it was the first start of the season. The problem is this horse has not remained sound because he won the Epsom Derby in 2021, where he beat Mistrif, and that was on the good to firm going. This is he ran 4th in the Arc that year, so good, really good horse. Just doesn't stay healthy.
So it's
one of my notes in this race was, because of the nature of the race, Classic Causeway's in here, and you know where he's going to be. The front. Luxembourg also would like the front. And Bay Bridge generally sits off them. That's why I picked these other horses.
Well, it's funny is there's 6 horses in this field, Tom. We only agreed on 1. And the one that we agreed on, weirdly enough, is the first pick. Most half, or whatever his name is. Most half deaf. So I'm going to let it rip with another flyer today here. This horse, you mentioned, Tom, one of the wins that you said got a break and then came back to win. Well, I went through the race cycle there, and the last 4 times this horse got a break, it came back to win first up. Looks like it wins first up or doesn't win at all. So let's see if indeed at 20-1, the longest price, if we throw out Classic Causeway on the board, I'm going to go with Bay Bridge, the 2 horse, as my next choice. It's the only one that it was the only one we agreed on, the second longest shot on the board, and both putting it first. But Bay Bridge, third up, and his favorite distance, hands down, 6 races, 4 wins, and a second in there. And like you said, Tom, I think sits right behind the speed and in front of the closers and gets to make the first move. And then Luxembourg, we saw today that the Irish Guinness did translate to a win today, Thomas, in day 1. So let's see if another Cura G1 winner can take home the top prize. My question is here, in a short field, it shouldn't make that big of a difference, but the post position could hurt on the rail. I'm not sold completely on that, on only a 6-horse race, though.
Well, and again, Classic Causeway is going to break for the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And you figure Bay Bridge is going to be somewhere up front, too. So it will be interesting to see how Luxembourg and Ryan Moore establish position.
Well, let's see what position it thinks the predictor thinks it'll have at the end of the race. Bam! Thinks Luxembourg is going to make some work of this. Bay Bridge right there as well.
Remember,
ADR.
Yeah, remember Classic Causeway won't be figured in these numbers.
Well, he's all the way here in the back. He showed
up.
up.
But he's not going to, but he really doesn't figure on their spectrum.
Yeah, 150 to 1. He's way back there, though. He's just kind of there. The connections are there for the parties, Tom, and to meet the royalty. They're not there to win, I don't think. Mm-hmm. But you never know. Why put a horse in if you don't think it's going to win?
Maybe he can steal it. He's stole a race before sitting on the front end. So maybe he does it again.
So we're going to go to race number 5 now, which is 1 mile. It looks like there's a scratch, like the one horse scratched out of this race, is what it looks like to me. And that is Migration. So he's not going to run. But there'll be 30 other horses that run, Tom. You thought the other one was kind of difficult to handicap. What did you think of this one?
Ugh. Let's just say this is going to be a cavalry charge if we've ever seen one. And it'll be interesting to see, like today, how they split out. Because anything that split towards the grandstand side did absolutely nothing. So, we'll see how the track plays this time around.
Roll the dice, baby.
In the one race, though, if you noticed, and that was the King's Stand, only 3 of them went to the grandstand side. All those did absolutely nothing. And everybody else went the other way.
Well, it is a roll of the dice. They say, Mama needs some new shoes. So let's see if there's 1 mile. They're going to go straight again. So just in case you haven't seen it before, boom, down that straightaway right there. All right, Thomas, who's getting the shoes?
I'm going to start with number 13, Astro King, with draw 12 is my top choice. The first start of the season was at York, and he went this distance in a Class 2 type race, and he finished a decent 4th. He was in the rear for most of this race and waited for room and didn't get a lot of room, but he did get enough room to get up for 4th. I think it's an interesting horse because he hasn't won a race since 2021. And he's run some really average races in between that. But 2 things changed. One, he was gelded, and the other is he switched trainers. And why is he 9 to 1 if he hasn't really done anything? That race was better than we think it is, I think, at York. And that's why I'm going to put him on top. My next choice is going to be back to our musical theme, which is number 9, Jimi Hendrix.
There you go.
Draw 7.
Excuse me while I kiss the sky.
And it was the race last time was, but the jockey comment said the horse ran too freely and was forward too much. That's not its running style. So obviously it was not in that stead, and also this is one of those horses that I think needs to sit mid pack, and last time it certainly did not. It's one on the soft going at Newbury in a Class 2 type race, but this is one who's had some good runs. I think he prefers, from looking at a good going, prefers that type of going, and that's what he's going to get today. And I think it is a draw 7, so I think it's got a good chance.
This tire tracks across its back all the way to the finish line. What's next?
Oh, I'm going to take number 7, Intelligence. Who's going to draw 30. He's been running in much better company in the past, and ran 6th in a Class 2 last out at Newberry, and they had kind of dropped him, but it was at this distance. He's had some good runs at Ascot, and placed. Again, don't like that post position, and the trainer hasn't done particularly well lately. So, but why is it 8-1?
Somebody had to be 8-1.
Yeah. Well, in this big of a field, why is it 8-1? Yeah. I figured double digit at least. Then I went and looked at some of the different betting outlets, and 8-1 was the pretty common price.
It does have a tip too there besides yours.
Yeah.
That's
what I thought was a little interesting. So I put it in there.
Well, I'm going to start off with number 17. I'm putting that one in there. Dunham. It's the right distance for this guy, Thomas. He's done it 8 times, 3 wins, 4 seconds. So should be competitive there. Making its 3rd start after a layoff. And everybody knows I love to look at patterns and cycles. The last time the 17 horse here, Dunham, ran a 3-race cycle, it won the 3rd up. Number 32. Boy, I'm going to go way out here, Tom. Do they even go?
No, there's only 30 going to go.
Oh, so if 32 gets in, I don't know, where is he at in here? Majestic. He's got to scratch in.
Yeah, there'd have to be a scratch for him to get in. There's been one scratch, so that's my horse that got in.
All right. Well, maybe there'll be another.
He was 31.
So if Majestic gets in, that's my next choice, Tom. Right now, it's not in. But lost to Cadillac in its last race, who, if I remember correctly, Cadillac is a decent horse. Has to be a decent horse.
Yeah, we didn't run very well today.
No, but it has to be an okay horse if it's a foreign horse that I'm familiar with the name of. Does like the distance. 5 times out, 1 win, 2 seconds. Why does it say it's post position 6 though for me, Tom? If that's
no, it's got the draw 6, then it's in.
Yeah, well, where is
he got in?
But where is he in here? I don't see him in here by draw. Post position 6. Well, no, it's not in there. I don't know. There's missing a 6. Is it scratched too? I have no idea.
No, it's not scratched yet. Today there were 3 that were taken out that didn't make because of the limit on how many horses can go into the gate.
Well, if he gets in, folks, I like him, and he'll be in the 6th spot if he gets in, which is kind of weird that he's got a number and he's not there. So maybe he's coming and we just don't know it yet. All right.
Yeah, there was a scratch.
But it doesn't show up as a scratch at the bottom. So anyway, number 10 is my next choice as we trample on with the confusion.
Yeah.
Ocean Murphy.
Good job of that.
I can screw it up. That's usually really good or really bad. I like those kind of horses that are usually really good. Most of the really good stuff came at today's distance, where he's done it 5 times, 3 wins and a second. Only a half length of winning the first 3 races this year after spending nearly 2 years in the barn. So came off that break ready to run and in form, hopefully, and he can do it. And heck, he's 9-1. And then let's see if this guy made the race or not. I'm not sure. Number 27. All right, he did. WHALES'S does make the race in here. This is, again, one of my favorite kind of horses, Tom. It's an all or nothing. And I wrote in my notes, there's really no other way to put it, but the last 2 really sucked. There's no other word for it. But does have a couple of trips at Ascot. And one of those trips at Ascot was one of its 2 alls. So maybe at 25-1, it can make another one. And the other one, I think it finished 3rd in there or 4th. And so it didn't run all that badly in the other trip at Ascot. So maybe a hidden horse for the course, and actually catching a couple tips, which kind of surprises me on this horse, considering I think it's like 60 lengths off in its last 2 races. But hell, it's a 27, 30 horse field. Who knows what's going to happen? The predictor knows what's going to happen, Tom. At least it thinks it knows what's going to happen. So let's find out what it says.
Well, with 30 horses.
Tempest, the one neither one of us mentioned in there. See, Intelligent, that horse is in there. Bless him. Orban. So the only horse in here that either one of us mentioned is Astro King. Is that right?
I have Astro King.
Yeah, so it's the only one that we mentioned.
No, I have Intelligence.
Oh, so you got 2. So you were messing with the predictor before the day got started today, Tom.
No, not really. I was just using my crystal ball.
You're the programmer. That's what it is. 2 races to go, Tom. Race 6, the the Queen's Vase Stakes. They're going to go 1 mile and 6 furlongs. So over on this side of the world, that's called 1 mile and 6 furlongs, 1 mile and 3/4.
Yeah.
1 mile and 3/4 is going to start. Where is
Right.
that? We're going to start right here.
Starts at the start line, right near a little past the start line.
And we had one of those
Finish
today,
line.
too.
I mean the finish line.
Is that the one your horse won right up the rail too? Right, the mile and
No, that was that race was the 2 miles and 6 furlong race. It's for the stayers, more for the hunt type horses who go over hurdles.
Well, there was one at that distance today too.
Yeah,
and I do remember like the when they were making the long ones, the closers.
Royal Exchange won that race, I think.
All right. Well, anyway, who's going to win?
Bolshoi Ballet ran second.
So that was the one we whiffed on. Yes, but they were closers as well.
We didn't get. We weren't even close.
No, but that one, the horses did come from off the pace because I did see it. Yes. A lot of the horses we liked early on.
Bolshoi Ballet was forwardly placed, but the winner came off the pace.
So who's going to win this one? And this one, there's only 14 horses. So this is kind of like kids.
Only a mere 14.
Yeah, this is kid stuff compared to the rest of the card.
Well, we did have 6. I'm going to take 3. Circle of Fire with draw 5. Ran last time out at Lingfield. It was what I would call a strange race. Didn't start well. Sat back in most of the race and then plugged along for a third. And the comment was, this horse is better than this, which I thought was really interesting. It's run races okay. 4 starts. It's got a win and some placings. I mean, it's a lightly raced horse because these are all pretty lightly raced overall. And it happens to be owned by the King. Number 12, St. Vincent's Garden is going to be my next choice. Has draw 1. Last time it won by a head at Ferry House, and it went 12 furlongs in that race. And the other 2 races were at distances also long of 12 and 13 furlongs. So it's a mid-type mover, mid-pack mover, which I like for these kind of races, and it could be a favorite, maybe not. Finally, I'm going to take number 10, St. George, has draw 4. And won its last 2 races, and last one was at Doncaster at 14.5 furlongs. It's a little longer, but it was a little lower class race. It was a class 3 handicap. Won a novice at Subtle, which is an all-weather at 11 furlongs. So definitely likes the distance, and I think the longer it goes, it seems to keep going. 3 out of 4 in the money runs always tells me that's not a bad thing. But definitely is going to step up, but in form.
Yes, indeed. Well, where you leave off is where I start off with. St. George is my top pick. As you mentioned, is definitely stepping up in class, but I don't think in here the distance is an issue at all for this horse. That 1 mile and 3/4 did win its last 2 races. The only other time it made a second start off a layoff, Ocean Murphy rode it. I think it was the only other time he rode the horse, and they did win that race together. Going to try to repeat that pattern today. Number 5, Gregory. Just the one name horse, could be a Brazilian soccer player, I suppose, too. At 7-4, looks like it's going to be your favorite here. 2 easy wins in 2 races. Both times the bettors or the punters backed them very well. The question is for Frankie Dettori and the Godsons, can this horse handle the step up in class? Number 9, Peking Opera. It's my next choice. You have Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien. You can't go wrong with that. And it did seem like, as you mentioned, that Ryan Moore was involved in even the races he didn't win. He was involved and it got some prominent calls at the end of the races. Yeah. This looks to me like a horse that wants distance, a lot of distance, and it's going to get the most distance probably it will get so far to date. And then finally, number 8, right to that inside, Nürburgring. Finished right behind, didn't finish too far behind the pecking order last time out. That was 1 mile and 5/8. I think getting that extra 1/8 of a mile. I think it finished 4th by like 1.5 lengths or something like that, and was closing ground at the end. So I think had got another 1/8 of a mile, may have gotten the job done. That extra 1/8 of a mile today equates to 40-1 odds. Let's see if that can pay off for us with a little bit of extra distance on that angle today. Predictor. I got to come back down here and get rid of this so we can see the predictor clearly, because If we leave up the banner, we cannot see what the predictor has to say. And, well, only 3 horses are going to do well. Chess Piece. Do you have that horse? Neither.
No, neither.
Gregory, well, that's one I mentioned in there.
Yeah.
Circle of Fire, that's the one you mentioned, right? That's the King's
My
horse.
top choice, yeah.
Everybody else is kind of way off the pace. There's going to be a big gap to the next 3.
They may be running the race, the last race.
They might still be riding out there as they're loading the last race, which is what we're going to do last now. It is the final race of the day. Going to go back to a sprint. This one is the Windsor Castle Stakes. 6 furlongs. Tom, here, run down that straightaway. Boom. See how they can go again.
No, it's 5 furlongs.
Is it 5 furlongs? Right. It's still going to run down that straightaway over there at 5 furlongs. We did see at the short races, speed did hold up in day number 1. Maybe speed holds up in day number 2. When they hit the finish line in this, there's a bunch of horses in this one too, right? 26 horse field, Tom. Again, a roll of the dice. When the dice land, who's going to be the winner?
15, maximum impact. Got draw 13. It's 2 for 2. And one of those races was at Ascot. Won its first race by 12 lengths. And then the next, when it ran at Ascot, it run by 2 1/4 lengths. Basically this horse has been sitting right up close. And I think in a 5 furlong race and the way the track's playing, that makes sense. I'd be surprised it doesn't go off the favorite. But again, big field, who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. 4, Big Evs is my next choice, has draw number 19. 1 run, ran second. But it was, to say it ran green would be very nice. It was all over the place. Did hear an interview a couple of days ago about this horse, and the reason they put it in the listed race here is they felt this horse is ready for a big improvement, and they did like the way it ran, which I find interesting because I watched the replay, and yeah, it was interesting. But again, these are 2-year-olds, and they can expect anything.
Well, interesting to note, you mentioned that they interviewed and they're expecting a big race. Opened up at 66 to 1. It's been trending down since. So it looks like some folks had their ears open for that interview.
And finally, I'm going to take number 5. Bombay Bazaar is my final choice. It has the draw 12. Won the last 2 races. They were both at Beverly. At this distance of 5 furlongs, and it's been doing it it did it one on the good to firm and then one on the good to soft. Ran a third in its maiden race. It's okay. But the trend here with this one is it keeps improving. And with a 2-year-old, got some experience now with 2 wins and some races under it. And they're saying it's keep improving. I don't know why it wouldn't keep improving in this race either.
Well, I'm going to go with my first pick. Going to be right to the outside of that one, as I'm really swinging for the fences today, Thomas. I got a lot of big shots. Irad and Wesley Ward get their win today here with Fandom coming over from Keeneland.
You think Wesley Ward will be well enough?
Was he not feeling well?
No, that's why he took off the 2 mounts. John Velasquez picked up the mounts today. He had food poisoning.
Oh, Irad wasn't feeling well?
Yeah, he was out. He got scratched. He was taken off the 2 mounts.
Well, if he's better tomorrow, he better hope he gets better tomorrow, because he's going to get his W if he does, Thomas. That food poisoning can be nasty, though. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
But that English food over there, I wonder what he ate. But in any case.
Bangers.
Yeah, probably. But even if it isn't Irad, the 6 furlong race time, 50. So he ran, I think he ran 6.5 furlongs or something like that. But anyway, he ran 57 for the 5 furlongs in the 6 furlong race there. That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Number 20 is my next choice. And he won easily, geared down and everything, and still pulled away. I'm going to go with number 20 as my next pick. Sergeant Wilco was hampered at the start of his debut. Otherwise, this horse would be unbeaten in 2. Number 3 is the next choice. I think this one is probably going to be your favorite, Tom. At least it is right now. Barnwell Boy. This horse won his debut with ease. 6 furlongs, wire to wire, or he made all there, Charles. And I think cutting back to 5 furlongs is going to allow for him to run even faster up on the lead today. And then you like Maximum Impact. I like Maximum Impact too. Mr. Thomas is my final choice. Both of its races, easy wins, well bet in both of them. And if you look at the class ratings, some of the highest class ratings for this group. Finally, the last time for this Tuesday's version and the Wednesday races of the predictor, we're going to find out what the final thoughts are for the computer here over at the racingpost.com. Looks like they're expecting Maximum Impact to win a very tight race over Barnwell Boy, over Bombay Bazaar, Jonathan's Brahms, Action Point, and Hackman. Nowhere in there do you see Wesley Ward or Irad Ortiz, so maybe he hasn't recovered, according to the predictor, Thomas.
Yeah. Again, those numbers may not translate to the predictor, so that may be the reason that horse is dying.
Maybe Budweiser. I don't know. It could be today. That's what's going on over there. I don't know. I've only spent a few minutes in Heathrow Airport. That's the longest I was in England. But a lot of folks I know that went over there to stay, they're not fond of the food. Thomas, have you been over there?
I have not.
No, nor have I. I mean, I can't say, but because I don't know. What I can say is in about an hour from now, about an hour and 9 minutes from now, Sean and Jamie will be joined by two good friends of the show. We have Angel Suarez and Aubrey Green. They're in their wedding photo, recently married, as a duo coming on. Both of them are doing very well at Louisiana Downs right now. I think Angel is second in wins and Aubrey is sixth. So the dynamic couple doing pretty well. They're probably thankful for Katie and Trevor McCarthy get those rules where they're not coupled entries now.
That was New York.
Yeah.
That was New York. That was
Louisiana's probably.
Louisiana doesn't have those rules.
No, they don't have any rules in Louisiana. That's the great thing about being
well,
down
sometimes you got to wonder. You watch some of those races.
Indeed, you got to wonder for sure. Well, tomorrow, you and I will be back. Same time, 6 p.m. Eastern, to go over day 3. See if we can learn something new in day 2 that we can carry over into day 3. Tomorrow, Charles and I will get back together again for Horseshoe Indianapolis. We're going to start a little bit earlier. So we're probably going to start around 1 o'clock Eastern. So keep an eye out on all of our social sites. You see them down there below. If you like what you saw here today, kindly hit the like button on Facebook and on YouTube. Helps us with the algorithms. Also, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. We're trying to find our way to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, which unlocks the keys to some additional tools over there. And I think that wraps it up for today. Tom, any final thoughts before we get up and get out of here?
Good luck, especially in that first race. I thought the Queen Mary was absolutely crazy.
Well, what's funny about that is we had more agreement in the races where there's 32 horses than we did when there's 6 horses.
Yeah, ironically, yes.
Yeah. So what does that tell you? It tells you it's going to be a fun day tomorrow at
interesting.
The Royal Ascot. Yeah, I think, it's one of those days tomorrow, one of those cards. If you get one exacta out of the day, it could pay for the whole day again.
Yeah, very likely.
Well, hopefully, indeed, you do get God's grace on your picks and His favor. And then no matter what you're doing for the rest of tonight, till we get back together tomorrow for Horseshoe Indianapolis or Royal Ascot Day 3, we hope that everything ends up in one place. And I got to make sure I press the right button this time, Tom. And that is in
the Royal Winner's Circle.
Indeed. You'll find all of our picks and comments over at horseracingtoday.net in about an hour. Have a fantastic Tuesday night.